Rev up your engine. All right, a Lexus convertible. Is it a money pit? Is it something you should buy? Well, here's a guy who bought one used. He's had it for years. He did a lot of research and he decided on this one. You could say it's in excellent shape. Rear wheel drive, V6, and it is an IS350C. The thing about this one is, it was made in 2010 in Japan. It's got the J, but as you can see here, this is an F-Sport special build. This is number 56 of 100. So this indeed is a rare bird, and this guy was smart. He bought it from the original owner. That guy, since it was the F-Series 56 of 100, has all the ads, was a $61,000 car. So he bought this thing for $16,000. Hey, I'll give him 20. Let me tell you, he got a deal. He knows his stuff. On the other hand, he owns some other Lexuses too, and this is his toy. It does not come out in the winter and play in the salt. No, it doesn't. It stays in a garage, so it doesn't have any rust or anything on it. It's been well taken care of. But it's my favorite type of Lexus because of what's under the hood. Toyota V6, totally dependable. Hooked up to Toyota's 6-speed transmission. It is a screamer to drive around. Now, the reason I talk about the V6 is this. I don't advise people to buy specially used V8 Lexuses because the maintenance is totally insane and everything costs a fortune. For example, here's the brake master cylinders on the 6-cylinder one, right? You can replace it. On the V8s, they use insane systems, and many of them, you gotta buy the whole assembly. The computer assembly, the master cylinder, it's all one part. Sometimes that thing can run well over $2,000 in parts alone. You get one of these for a couple $100, brand new master cylinder. Not on the V8s, and the rest of the car follows suit. And when they do wear out, they got more power. So, of course, the tranny's gonna wear out faster. The more power you put to a transmission, the faster it's gonna wear out. This puts out plenty enough power, you'll see when you road test it. But these things just hold up. They don't make the 6-speed anymore because they went into transmissions that would get even better gas mileage. Because this thing does the same thing as my wife's Lexus. Gets about 25 miles a gallon on the highway, which for the speed isn't bad, right? But of course they want better ratings, so they put more and more speeds in the transmission to satisfy the government and all that nonsense. In the real world, if you drive any of these cars hard, your gas mileage is going to go down no matter what kind of an engine it has in it, so you don't buy one of these things for gas mileage. It's his toy, it's his convertible. And like BMW's and Mercedes, they got hardtop convertibles. Check it out. Just like a beetle putting its shell over its wings. There we go. Look at this thing. I mean, look at it. It's like something out of Star Wars. I expect lasers to come shooting out of the thing. But unlike the BMWs and Mercedes, where their hard convertible tops break all the time, and even worse, the Porsches. The Porsches have the worst ones on the planet. You could spend thousands and thousands and thousands, and they're still not working right, and then spend thousands more, right? These things really don't have a tendency of breaking down. Lexus does a good job. This car is made in Japan. They knew what they were doing, and yeah, it's complex, but if it's complex and it doesn't break, you really don't care. Versus if it's complex and it breaks, most BMW, Porsche, Mercedes, as they get old, you notice you never see them with the tops down. Or you see them with the tops down all the time because they're broken and they just park them in the garage all the time. No, he's done nothing but normal maintenance in the time he's owned it. Oil changes, stuff like that. But he's got one minor nagging problem. It's not that big of a deal. But he doesn't drive it in the winter, so it sits in a garage so the salt doesn't eat it up because he's got other cars to drive. Comes out of storage, and when it's cold, he's got to put down on the brake hard, and it's rock hard. Finally, he can start the car because there's the interlock switch that you got to step on the brake light to come on, so the car will start when you're in park or neutral, right? So it's hard when he starts. The pedal's rock hard. Then gets going. Then it goes back to normal. Well, here's what's happening. It's typical for cars that aren't driven all the time. This is a normal brake master cylinder. You can see it's hooked up to a regular vacuum style system. The vacuum pressure of the engine sucks in the pressure and gives you brake boost. When he starts at first and it sits overnight, it's sticking. It's not getting the vacuum pressure to pull the diaphragm. Boosters are like two pie plates welded together. Inside there's a rubber diaphragm. The engine vacuum sucks and gives you pressure. And it sits overnight. You got to start it up to build up the pressure on one that's slightly warm. Because as they age, they don't hold the vacuum overnight all that well. And strangely enough, even in my 17-year-old Matrix, it still holds it overnight. Now, I don't park the car for 3-4 months. We use it every day, but it stays overnight because the seal is still good. If it started to hiss, then you know there was a leak. But if he wanted to, he could take this valve out here and replace that valve. If the valve is leaking internally, you'll lose your vacuum pressure when you shut the engine off. It'll go back into the engine instead of holding the pressure, right? And it can go bad. But also, if the vacuum booster itself has a minor leak anywhere, it'll do that. If it hisses, you gotta replace it, because then it'll suck too much air and you won't have a good brake when you're driving down the road normally. But he's got totally normal brakes. It's just a startup thing when it's cold. So that valve could very well fix it. He's gonna go to Lexus, buy one, stick it in. They just pop in and pop out. It could very well fix it. But if it isn't, then it's the actual booster, and it still works fine, except when it's cold and it's sat a long time, just start it up, wait a second. It's not really going to hurt anything, because changing the booster is a big job. You can see it sitting there, and it's going to cost an awful lot of money. And it could just be the stupid valve is leaking a little bit inside, and then you have no vacuum pressure until you start it up, and then it warms up, builds up vacuum pressure, then the boost is totally normal. Now, conversely, say you have a car that the brake pedal is always rock hard, I'll tell you, you're going to have to buy a booster. The booster just is shot, you know, that's just the way that it goes. And one way you can test that is real easy. Let's say you step on your brake with the car turned off, it feels normal, but you start it up and then you hit it and it's rock hard, that the boost is going on, it means it's totally shot. And if it's rock hard all the time, you want to fix it, you want to change the booster. Now, take a look inside. It is a typical Lexus. Very luxurious. The leather's still in excellent shape. Now, there's a limited amount of seat room in the back because it's an F Sport. Sport. See that? Does that say SUV? No, it's a Sport. Now, he's got 2 kids, and then they like riding in a convertible too, but they got a bunch of other cars to ride around in too, you know? Black and chrome will start her up. It's got a traditional setup, which I like, speedometer and tachometer. And that transmission, you can go lots of ways. You can go just drive. You can shift it yourself up and down here, or you can use the paddle shifters here. But if you want the truth, no human can shift as fast as this transmission. It was the fastest shifting transmission in a mass-produced car in the world in 2010. You can't shift as fast as a computer. It just doesn't happen. So you might think, oh, look, I'm driving. I'm shifting with the paddles. Ooh, I'm really going. I tried that with a car once on a drag strip. I couldn't beat the car. The computers are so much faster than humans. And you can see, ultra comfortable. You can heat both the driver's passenger seat, and you can also cool them if you want to cool them. Perhaps someone isn't hot enough for you, so you turn up the heat. Or conversely, maybe your wife's getting a little too hot under the collar, you want to cool her down. But as you can see, I mean, it is a nice car. Of course, it's got the cool wind buffer. So when you're using the convertible, it really cuts down on wind noise. So let's hook up my fancy computer and see what's happening after 14 years of driving. So here we go. Lexus standalone diagnosis. It's an IS350C North America, 6-cylinder engine, radar cruise, and we will do a full scan of it. So while it's doing that, we'll look around a little bit more. This is a very comfortable car. But the main thing about this baby is it is made for speed. Here we go. There's only 2 codes. Now, the first one is the GPS system. Who uses these things? The owner of this car is a tech guy, works in tech, right? He even said they should just give them with blank screens and let your phone connect into in all cars. The software is so much better with Google and other companies. Plus, for these, you gotta buy information every year or every other year to update it. It's just stupid. I don't know why they even put them on cars. Got a USB device fault. We'll erase it anyway, but we really don't care. There's one other code, so we'll look at that. Adaptive front lighting again. You know, do you really care? We'll see what the code is. Vehicle speed and steering. It's got those stupid headlights that can adapt. We'll see what the trouble code is. Headlamp swivel motor. Maybe it got stuck at some time. He hasn't caught any problem. We'll erase the code if it doesn't come back. That would just mean it got stuck. Maybe ice got on it or something. Who knows? That's a lot of technology you really don't need. Check a little of the live data out. See what shape that's in. Everything looks pretty good. Electronic transmission is good. The temperature is normal. It even gives you the injector volume and injector on time. You can see misfires. Of course, there won't be any. There's 0 across the board. Backup camera, good resolution, even though it's a 14-year-old car. We're going over the big hump. It's a relatively low car, so we're going to go real slow. Very smooth riding car. Now realize it is a sports car, so it is going to have more of a driving ability to it than dampening, but hey, so far it dampens them pretty good. Like everything else on this car, the struts are still original. So, hey, that's something that it can still ride this well with struts that are 14 years old. Don't let people sell you crap you don't need, I'll tell you that. Alrighty, now here we go. Whoa! Man, that thing shifts like a dream, has plenty of acceleration. You wouldn't think it was a 6-cylinder. This is a well-made vehicle. Hey, for what he paid for it, whew, he got a deal. Now, one of the main reasons he bought this car, he looked all over the country, was because he wanted a specific car. This is a regular sports rear-wheel drive sedan. It's got a good engine in the front, nice 6-speed, insanely shifting transmission in the middle, and rear-wheel drive. It's exactly what somebody wants in a sports sedan. And to top it off, it's a convertible. I don't know how he got it so cheap. Now, I keep wondering, how do you get it so cheap? Well, the guy wanted more. The guy who bought it was very smart. Normally, I say stay away from the Lexus dealers, but in this case, no. He took it to the Lexus dealer for a pre-inspection, so it cost him $150. But they told him that it needed $4,000 of work. So, he got $4,000 off the price of the car, then he did it somewhere else for maybe $1,200, and he saved all their money. So in this case, the Lexus dealers, being crooks, helped him get a better price. So maybe if you are looking at one and they'll charge $150 to tell you what's wrong, go right ahead and do it. Get the list, tell the guy I want this much off of the car, and show him the Lexus thing like he did and get a really good deal. Hey, take advantage of the dealers being stealerships to get a better price on a used car. Now, it only works if it's not being sold at the dealership, of course, but there's a lot of private individuals selling cars. So there you have it, a phenomenal sports sedan convertible. Everything works. You know, it had a GPS code. It still worked, and the headlights still work, so, you know, who really cares? And as I always warn people, you're going to get a used Lexus, get a 6-cylinder one. Less maintenance, cheaper repairs, and they tend to last a lot longer. And you saw how fast this thing is. You don't need no stinking V8 to make these things move. So if you never want to miss another one of my new car repair videos, remember to ring that bell.